Guys, first video on the new phone. Hopefully it's a lot better. This is an interesting circuit here that you gotta check out. And I even drew you a schematic. So we're using the room core. Got small capacitance across the vibrator. It's driving the MOT like normal. And coming off the high voltage side, we've got two hairpin capacitors. These 2100 volt 1 microfarad microwave magnetron capacitors, and they're going into the other side of the hairpin on them is going straight to the primary rep on this flyback. Center tap here is going to the bottom of the secondary on the flyback. The secondary is also going to this terminal on this other condenser. The high voltage from the flyback is going to the other terminal. So we're essentially using the secondary of the flyback to charge this, and standard spark gap being discharged into somewhat of a bifilar, two different coils here. They're both wound in the same direction though. Anyway, and then it being induced into the secondary. I haven't messed with that a whole lot. What I want to show you is happening over here. Anyway, I'm going to vary this gap and either short the secondary or allow it to arc across here and watch what's happening on this side of the circuit. So this is the gap. First thing is I'm going to close it all the way. So the secondary is shorted. Makes it really easy for that pin to vibrate. Now I'm going to take it all the way out to where it's not making contact anymore and not enough to arc. And the room corp has a little bit more difficulty pulsing that. Now I'm going to bring it in just to the point where, well, notice that there's nothing going on over here on this secondary, on the second gap here, on the secondary side of the flyback circuit. The flyback's not really being energized at this point. But when I bring this gap in to the point where it's touching, and it's so corroded that this is the way it has to be, but it's touching, and now we get sparks that start jumping between here, just little tiny ones. All of a sudden we get some big output on the flyback secondary. If I get it in real close, it seems to have there seems to be more current available in that arc the closer and faster this gap activates. So if I get it, it's a good spot for now. To remove this, I get a little bit more constant, but it does seem like the current goes down a little bit. But I can pull it out. I can pull it out a lot farther without that condenser. I'm not even arcing up here, so hold on a second. Ooh, that tingled a little bit. Let's put that. So we're not going just going to take that off right now. We're not going to use this condenser. It's just going to arc from the secondary through the primary here and into that. Let me get this fixed going on. Yep. Next time, get my hook. There we go. That's a pretty good arc there. And as you can see, it wants to. Arcing into the secondary. It's doing some kind of induction into the secondary here. But what's interesting is that what's going on here. When that gap is shorted, there should be no energy traveling through here. When it's arcing across it, the field should be collapsing and staying in here. But something different's happening, and even though very little current, if any, could be getting through here from reactance, there is energy being fluctuated in the other side of the circuit. And it's enough to drive that flyback to some extent here. Pretty cool, huh? Got this battery power in it. It says the 12-volt battery. Actually, I got the sulfuric acid that came with it. I had to dump it in there and watch it charge right up. Anyway. It's pretty strong. And kind of fix this by assisting it. Seems to be better action the slower the vibrations are. Much more of a field collapse there causing it to happen. Seems to die off when I remove any capacitance from across the vibrator. And it builds back up. Hold on a second, I'm going to add some more capacitance there and test it. So, I've added a few more caps here, which really didn't seem to make any difference on this or the cracking. But then I took and hooked this guy and these guys up in parallel with the MOT output. So across here, which was, there's no capacitor here before, so now we have a capacitor across here. There, and the output is still about the same here on this gap. It's a little bit stronger of an arc, not much, but it does help. It is helping a little bit now, because now it can fire a lot more frequently and with slightly more energy. And as a result, we get a little bit more output here. Okay, switch to this valve here. Let's see if we can get some plasma out of there too. So, this is an interesting high voltage source. Thanks for watching.